Everybody knows someone who is just a little socially off, someone who talks too long, someone who always gives advice, someone who turns every conversation back to themselves, someone who says, "I'm just being honest," while everyone else thinks, "No, you're just being rude." But here comes the uncomfortable part. Maybe sometimes that person is you. Welcome to episode 3 of our series on social intelligence, your social blind spot. A social blind spot is something you do without noticing the effect it has on other people. So you think, "I'm being enthusiastic," but the other person thinks, "He doesn't let anyone finish." You think, "I'm helping." Meanwhile, the other person wonders, "Why am I getting advice already?" You think, "I'm open and direct." But the other person thinks, "Why does this feel like an attack?" That, right there, is the difference between intention and effect. Well, that is exactly where things often go wrong, because, we judge ourselves mostly by our intentions. Other people judge us mostly by our behavior. You mean well, but the other person only feels what happens. Take the classic blind spot, talking too much. You explain, you add side stories, you clarify everything one more time. In your head, you are being clear and involved, but across the table, someone becomes quieter, looks away more often, gives shorter answers. That is not random, that is information. Or, take unsolicited advice, for example. Someone tells you they're struggling with something and you immediately jump in with solutions like, "Then you should just," or "What I would do is," or maybe, "Have you tried?" And maybe your advice is actually good. But the thing is, sometimes people don't want a solution yet. Sometimes they just want to feel heard first. One simple question can really help a lot. Do you want advice, or do you just want to talk it through? That's social intelligence, all wrapped up in a single sentence. Here's another classic, taking over the conversation. Someone says, "Something difficult happened at work," and you reply, "Oh, I had that too, but much worse." And before you know it, it's no longer their story. Suddenly, it's your stage. Often, this does not come from ego. Sometimes it comes from insecurity. Silence feels uncomfortable, You want to add something, you want to be useful, you want to show that you understand. But understanding is not the same as taking over. The social price of a blind spot is usually not dramatic. People do not run away screaming or anything like that. They do something more subtle. They share less. They keep things more superficial. They invite you less often. They relax less around you. And slowly, you get a reputation. Kind but exhausting, smart but dominant. Funny but sometimes at other people's expense. Honest but with no sense of timing. You would rather know that sooner than later. So, how do you discover your own blind spot? Do not only listen to words, watch the energy. Do people become quieter after you speak? Do they ask you few questions back? Do they often look away? Do they smile politely but not really? Do you keep getting the same kind of irritation from people? And especially, do you talk more than you ask? A practical test: for 1 week, send a little less, talk 30% less. Ask one extra question before giving your opinion. Only give advice when someone wants it. Let a silence exist for once. And when you recognize someone else's story, do not immediately say, "That happened to me too." First say, "Tell me more." Social intelligence does not mean becoming perfect. It means daring to examine what your presence does to other people. Because sometimes the most important person you need to learn to read is not someone else. It is yourself. Captain Help, smarter every day, in every way.